I am the best employee at a place I don't work. I am sure this has probably happened to someone else on here, but I will tell my story anyway. When I was in high school and first got my driver's license, I would drive to a local bookstore in my town that was almost as big and popular as Barnes & Noble. It has since shut down though. I went there specifically because I have had a loyalty card there since I was like 6 that got me massive discounts on books. It was the dead of fall and I was wearing a jacket due to the chill outside and listening music on my first-gen iPod. I was standing in the reference section trying to figure out which guitar book one should buy since I had just gotten a guitar for my birthday and we didn't really have internet to look up how-tos. When suddenly an older gentleman walks up to me and asks about a book series for his daughter. I say I know which one he is talking about and lead him to the YA section, talking about how good the story is and if she likes them, some other books like it I could recommend. The man and I chatted for about 15 minutes before thanking me and continuing on. I went back and grabbed a simple chord guide book and had to check out. As I walked up to the front, I see the gentleman talking to one of the employees, probably the manager. He then points to me and says something to the effect of, "This is one of your best employees. You should give him a raise." The guy looks over at me with a confused look and turns back to the man, telling him that I don't work there. This confused the gentleman who came over to me while I was checking out, asking me if I really didn't. I told him sorry I don't, and he began to laugh. He told me that my shirt, red with some tribal design on it, looked like one of the red shirt's uniforms. Also, me talking into my Bluetooth headset made it look like I was talking to someone who worked there like a manager would. I was just mumbling along to the song lyrics I was listening to. We both laughed at this and went our separate ways. 0. Today was my day. It finally happened to me. Reddit. It finally happened. Today I got to experience being able to say, "I don't work here, lady." Obligatory. I am writing this on mobile. This happened around 20 minutes ago. Wanted to get this on here while it is still fresh in memory. For background, I work in construction supply delivery. Uniform being gray pants, red polo with company logo, yellow safety vest, also with company logo and name and a huge logo on the back, important later. I was at the local Walmart picking up a couple things for work. I drive a truck, so I was in the automotive section next to the hardware section. I was in a bit of a hurry, so I didn't take my vest off. My mistake, and decided to just run in and get what I needed and go. Right after I found what I wanted, I had a few items in hand. I noticed a lady walking along the back side of the aisle by the wall. She looks at me and starts asking questions about tools. She got a bit closer to me and really started looking at the logo on my vest, and she said the words, "You don't work here," to whereas I reply, "No. Sorry." She accepts that and starts to walk away. I told her that I wasn't sure if this small Walmart had any in stock, but I figured since I just passed the hardware section that I would tell her where it was. You know, just nice person things. She said her son was going off to college, so she was looking for one of those small cheap tool bags with a bit of everything in it for small house jobs. I told her they should have one because I remember getting one of those when I got my first house. At this point there are about 5 people in this small aisle and the lady was walking roughly 8 to 9 meters on the other end of the aisle. Another lady passes me while I am still taking to this other woman, and as soon as I finish speaking she asks me where she can find something. I told her that I had no idea where she could find it. She noticed my company logo on my vest and realized her mistake. Not 2 seconds later, yet another woman behind her started asking about super glue, and at this point, I am just ready to get out of this suddenly crowded aisle, so I told her, "I don't know. I don't work here." I thought that would be the end of it, but as soon as I turned to walk away, she muttered, quite audibly might I add, "Yes, you do. You are wearing a uniform." I just kinda looked down at my very obviously not a Walmart uniform and said, "Yes," and walked away. Now I know what my two biggest mistakes were. I did not take off my vest, so I can see the confusion there. I also decided to help out a fellow customer around other people. I just don't see how you can see two other people realize that someone is clearly not an employee, and still assume they are. Then get passive-aggressive about it when they tell you. I've seen it here before, but it remains true. If someone actually works in a place of business, why would they tell you that they don't work there? What sense does that make? I don't get it. Thanks for reading Reddit. TL Doctor was at Walmart in my work uniform consisting of a safety vest, gray pants and a red polo. Got confused for an employee 3 times in a row. Lady passive-aggressively denies my own claim because I am in a uniform. Geez people, pay attention lol. Finally got to tell a customer what we'd all been thinking a while back. I was a bartender at an upscale restaurant, was dating another bartender and was good friends with 2 of the managers. The owner was a pompous ass but had 2 locations but almost never was at my location. The other one was in the trendy part of town, so of course he had to be seen there. We had this one lady who loved to come to the bar. She would tell anyone and everyone working that she was friends with the owner, actually true, and used that to treat everyone like crap. Snapping fingers, calling out, "Hey you, I need another drink," all while bragging about the car she drove, the presents that her boyfriends would give her. Since she was actually friends with the owner, we just took it. We knew she would get most if not all her tab comped and not tipped, so we just shuddered when she walked in. She had 2 steady boyfriends and a third that seemed to rotate. She was good looking if you like fake parts. We called her the entitled C***NT. When she was with a boyfriend she was only a bit horrible. But when she was alone she would get really drunk and piss off other patrons or hit on the older men to the point they would leave, affecting your tips all night. It's one thing if I know it's just 1 tab I am getting screwed on, another thing entirely when you affect my whole night. Fast forward about 8 months. I left the job to go back to school full-time, but my GF is still bartending there and I would go in frequently to have a meal on the cheap and a free beer or 2. One of these nights she shows up. Lady snaps at my GF, "I need another Chardonnay. Quick." GF, who is taking another customer's food order, "I'll be right there in a minute." Lady looks at me, You work here. Get me a drink." Me, watching the game on TV and eating my dinner, ignores her. Lady gets in my face, I was talking to you. Get me my drink." Me, "Ma'am, I don't work here anymore." Lady, "Yes you do. I see you working here all the time. Get me my drink. Don't you know who I am?" "I know the owner." I look at my girlfriend and give her a little smirk as if to say, "May I?" and she nods back. I didn't want her to get in trouble, but the friendly manager was working that night and the owner was nowhere to be found. The stars had aligned. Me, I don't work here, and since I don't, let me tell you what everyone who does work here thinks of you. You are the singularly most obnoxious guest that walks through these door. We call you the entitled C***NT behind your back. You're a drunk, a gold digger, and fake from head to toe. We count down the minutes until you leave." I turn to the boyfriend that's with her that night. "You know she has at least 2 other boyfriends, right?" Apparently, no one has ever talked to her like this before and her jaw is on the floor. You can see the hamster wheels spinning in her tiny brain and knowing the shit show I have started. Sit back and take a long drink of my beer and prepare to get reamed out. But before she can start, her boyfriend goes, "What?" Apparently he did not know about the other boyfriends. So what I thought was going to be a rant-filled ass chewing coming my way turned completely 180 on her. He starts going off on her and the restaurant is dead silent listening to him ream her out. How could she be sleeping around after all he has done for her? Cars, Condos presents. After all that, she was seeking around on him. He storms out and she runs after him. That was one of the sweetest beers of my life after story. Of course she called the owner and bitched about me, but he confirmed I no longer worked there. My GF got written up for allowing me to talk like that, but she never came back to that location. I was banned by the owner, but since he rarely was in, I still got to go hang out with my GF and manager friend. Scrubity, scribety.